Welcome to Farmtips Diary. A century ago, sheep were dual-purpose animals, providing both wool and meat, with dozens of regional breeds adapted to local climates. Today, sheep breeding has split into specialized wool producers, meat specialists, and crossbreeding systems that would have been unthinkable to traditional shepherds. This is the story of how economic pressures and scientific breeding transformed sheep into specialized production units, and why some heritage breeds are finding unexpected relevance again. The heritage flock before specialization. Early 20th century sheep flocks reflected centuries of local adaptation, with breeds serving multiple purposes and valuing versatility over maximum production. In 1925, most farms kept sheep as one component of mixed operations. The animals provided wool for income, meat for market, and grazed areas unsuitable for crops. Breeds were regional, adapted through generations to local conditions. Scottish farms raised Cheviots or Blackfaces, while American operations kept Merinos or heritage breeds were fundamentally dual-purpose, producing the 8 to 12 pounds of fleece annually and growing to 100 to 150 pounds at maturity. Neither wool nor meat production was maximized, but both were adequate, providing diversified income that reduced risk from price collapses in either market. Hardiness defined traditional breeds. Sheep survived harsh winters with minimal shelter, resisted diseases, and thrived on poor forage that would starve modern breeds. This resilience came from centuries of natural selection where weak animals died, leaving only robust genetics. Lambing was seasonal and mostly unassisted, with ewes raising 1 or 2 lambs on pasture. Growth rates were slow, taking the lap to 12 months to reach market weight. But this used cheap pasture rather than expensive grain. Wool quality varied enormously. Merinos produced fine 80 to 22 micron wool for high-quality garments. Long wool breeds like Lincoln's produced coarse 35 to 40 micron wool for carpets. This diversity supplied different market segments while sheep maintained semi-wild behavior with strong flocking instincts and good mothering abilities. The push toward specialization mid-century market changes drove sheep into specialized directions, creating distinct wool, meat, and terminal sire breeds optimized for single purposes. Wool markets collapsed in the 1950s and 60s as synthetic fibers displaced natural wool. Prices fell from supporting entire operations to barely covering shearing costs. This forced sheep operations to emphasize meat production or exit the industry. Consumer preferences changed dramatically as supermarkets wanted uniform lamb carcasses. Traditional dual-purpose breeds producing variable animals didn't meet these standards. The Suffolk emerged as the dominant terminal sire breed globally. These blackface meat specialists grew rapidly and produced heavily muscled carcasses that processors preferred. Suffolk rams crossed on various ewes create a market lambs consistently meeting commercial specifications. Other terminal sires, including Texels and Dorpers, filled specific needs, with Dorpers offering hair-sheep characteristics, eliminating shearing costs. Maternal breeds specialized for lamb production. Polypes, Katahdins, and improved Dorsets excelled at frequent lambing and good mothering. These breeds provided the A-way base that terminal sires were crossed onto, creating efficient crossbreeding systems maximizing lamb output. Accelerated lambing systems pushed biological limits. Breeding used to lamb 3 times in 2 years rather than annually. This required breeds with year-round fertility. Confinement production moved sheep from pasture into barns where feeding and lambing could be controlled precisely, requiring docile breeds, tolerating close quarters unlike flighty heritage breeds. Scientific breeding and disease resistance modern. Genetics allowed targeting specific traits including disease resistance and climate adaptation that traditional breeding addressed slowly. Parasite resistance became urgent as chemical dewormers lost effectiveness. Researchers discovered substantial genetic variation in resistance. St. Croix hair sheep from the Caribbean brought exceptional parasite resistance that could be crossed into commercial breeds, reducing deworming costs while improving welfare. Heat tolerance became crucial as climate change increased temperature stress. Hair sheep breeds adapted to tropics brought superior heat tolerance. Katahdin and Dorper breeds excelled in hot climates, where wool breeds struggled. Reproduction improvements through selection increased lambing percentages from 120% historically to 180 or even 200% in elite flocks, doubling lamb production per A. Genomic selection emerged in the past decade, allowing evaluation of breeding stock based on DNA analysis rather than waiting for offspring performance. This accelerated genetic improvement by identifying superior animals at birth rather than years later. Scientific breeding didn't just increase production but deliberately incorporated disease resistance, climate, adaptation, and efficiency traits that traditional breeding addressed slowly through trial and error. Hybrid vigor and crossbreeding systems. Understanding hybrid vigor transforms sheep breeding from maintaining purebreds to strategic crossbreeding systems that consistently outperform pure. Hybrid vigor or heterosis occurs when crossbred offspring outperform the average of their purebred parents. In sheep, first-generation crosses often show 5 to 15% advantages in survival, growth, and reproduction. Three-breed terminal cross systems became industry standard. Maternal breed ewes are crossed with different maternal breed rams, creating F1 ewes combining best traits. These F1 ewes are then bred to terminal sire rams, producing market lambs with maximum growth and carcass quality. For example, Polypay ewes bred to Dorset rams produce F1 A-way lambs with excellent maternal characteristics. These F1 ewes bred to Suffolk rams produce market lambs growing rapidly with superior carcasses. This system maximizes lamb production and quality while maintaining A-way productivity. Crossbred lambs consistently gain 0.1 to 0.2 pounds more daily than purebreds, reaching market weight weeks earlier. This reduces feed costs while increasing turnover. However, crossbreeding requires maintaining multiple breeds or purchasing breeding stock annually. Small operations find this complex and expensive, so purebred systems remain common for producers wanting simplicity. Heritage breeds finding modern niches. Economic and environmental changes created unexpected opportunities for heritage breeds once dismissed as obsolete. Grass-based production systems emphasize breeds that thrive on forage without grain. Many heritage breeds evolved grazing marginal land excel in these systems where modern breeds struggle. Shetlands, Icelandics, and Jacobs maintain condition on pasture quality that would starve some. Direct marketing to consumers values unique products. Colored wool from naturally pigmented sheep commands premiums among hand spinners. Slower growing heritage lamb with intense flavor appeals to chefs preferring taste over tenderness. Conservation grazing employs hardy heritage breeds in conditions commercial sheep can't handle. Control an invasive plants while requiring minimal management. Fiber ox revival created demand for distinctive wools that modern breeds don't produce. Long wool breeds like Lincoln and Cotswold, nearly extinct 30 years ago now, supply hand spinners willing to pay premium prices. This artisan market is small but growing, supporting preservation of genetics. Commercial wool markets abandoned. Climate adaptation makes some heritage breeds relevant as conditions change. Breeds evolved in hot climates increasingly suit regions becoming hotter. Shedding hair sheep eliminate heat stress from wool. The revival remains modest, but growing niches prove that genetic diversity has value beyond maximum efficiency. Genetic diversity as future insurance. The dramatic narrowing of sheep genetics through commercial specialization created vulnerabilities that genetic diversity protects against. Disease susceptibility increases with genetic uniformity. When most sheep share similar genetics, novel diseases potentially devastate entire populations. Diverse heritage breeds contain genetic variants conferring resistance to threats we haven't encountered yet. Climate change unpredictability makes adaptation genetics valuable. As climate zones shift, genetics from breeds currently marginal might become crucial. Production system changes could require different traits if antibiotic restrictions expand. Disease resistance and forage efficiency become more valuable than maximum growth rates. Heritage breeds already possessing these traits would suddenly have commercial relevance. Lost genetics are irretrievable. When breeds go extinct, unique gene combinations disappear permanently. Conservation costs are minimal compared to potential value. Maintaining breeding populations costs thousands annually. But the potential value if those genetics become crucial is immeasurable. Organizations, including the Livestock Conservancy, coordinate preservation efforts, pulling several breeds from brink of extinction. The strategic argument is that sheep breeding shouldn't optimize purely for current conditions while discarding diversity. Markets, climate, and diseases all change unpredictably. Genetic diversity provides options for adapting to changes we can't foresee. Breeds shaping the future looking forward. Certain breeds seem positioned to dominate or expand while others remain niche players. Dorpers are expanding dramatically globally. These South African hair sheep combine fast growth, good muscling heat tolerance, and elimination of shearing costs. They suit both intensive and extensive operations across diverse climates. Katahdin hair sheep dominates American pasture-based systems with excellent mothering parasite resistance and heat tolerance, ideal for grass-based production. Genomic selection will accelerate improvement across all breeds. As costs decline, more producers will use genomic testing to identify superior animals, speeding genetic progress by 50 to 100% compared to traditional selection. Composite breeds may expand at purebred expense, capturing hybrid vigor while allowing closed flock breeding. Heritage breeds will persist in niches, but unlikely to regain commercial dominance. Their value lies in genetic diversity, specialized products, and suitability for low-input systems. The next 50 years will likely see continued specialization through genomic selection, but also growing appreciation for diversity, providing resilience. The sheep industry might maintain an efficient commercial core while supporting diverse periphery, preserving genetic insurance. Recap: traditional early 1900s sheep were dual-purpose animals with regional heritage breeds adapted through centuries of selection. Economic pressures, including synthetic fiber competition, drove specialization into wool, meat, and terminal sire breeds. Suffolks became dominant terminal sires, while polypes and Katahdins emerged as maternal specialists, creating crossbreeding systems capturing hybrid vigor, outperforming purebreds by 5 to 15%. Scientific breeding added parasite resistance, climate adaptation, and reproduction improvements. Heritage breeds found modern relevance through grass-based production, direct marketing of unique fibers and flavors, conservation grazing, and fiber arts demand. Genetic diversity provides insurance against unknown future diseases, climate changes, and market shifts. Dorpers and Katahdins are expanding globally while genomic selection accelerates improvement. But appreciation for diversity supporting resilience alongside efficiency will likely shape sustainable future sheep farming. If this exploration of sheep breeding transformation gave you perspective on agricultural genetics and the value of diversity, give this video a like and share it with anyone interested in livestock evolution. Subscribe to Farmtips Diary for more insights into how farming animals have changed. Hit that notification bell so you never miss stories about the species that feed and clothe us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.